Are you not finding it a little bit strange that this label of far right is being bandied at anyone who seems to care about their country or their communities? Sounds a little bit odd, doesn't it? Let's have a chat.
It's all too much. I think you said enough. It stinks hypocrisy to me.
Welcome back to the channel. Living in a ditch, I say. It's a very cold morning. Lovely and sunny and bright. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to do the subscribing on and all that sort of stuff. Let's get this channel going and let's have a discussion. Now, of course, what I'm talking about with this far right label, it's happened a few times over the last 4 or 5 weeks, I would say. It's become more prominent. It's always been there. But of course, initially, we, the football lads and all that sort of stuff at Remembrance Sunday, or people that were concerned that the pro-Palestine people were going to interfere with proceedings, and all those people that were wanting to protect the cenotaph and all that sort of stuff were labelled as far right, which I found bizarre. Why would you do that? They're just people, they're patriots. So, a patriot's now just far right, is that what they're labelled as? So, of course, that one goes by. Then, probably more prominently, and actually I find it very disgusting, is a couple of days ago, of course, there was those tragic events in Dublin, where I think it was 2 or 3 school children were stabbed, and a teacher or carer was also injured on a seemingly bizarre attack, a random attack. Why would anyone stab children? Now, of course, the part that I don't like is that people obviously straight away jump to conclusions. So it must be this, must be that. They can't have been an Irish person, it had to be an immigrant, blah, blah, blah. I try not to jump on that bandwagon because I think all life is sacred. Apart from if you're a horrible person or if you're evil. We might get to that in a different vlog or a different chat. But yes, now when this happened, it sparked some trouble in Dublin. There was some people throwing stuff at the police and basically really upset about what's happened. I'm sure there were a few there that just wanted to, raise merry hell and be gobshites. But in general, what was happening is people are now starting to get angry across Europe because of the uncontrolled immigration that's going on. Because it obviously seemed that not obviously, I can't say obviously because I wasn't there, but it seemed apparent quite quickly that the person who stabbed these children, remember it's children, okay? Remember it's children, was not of Irish descent, okay? We'll put it like that. Now then, the way Sky News reported it, okay, was that it was a far-right extremist take to the street and riot over child stabbings. And why would they label it far right? What do you think? I'd like to know what you actually think. Why would they label that far right? Let's put it a different way, okay? Now, I don't know you personally, you there looking at me on the screen. I don't know what your personal political views are or where you sit. You could be anyone, okay? But just take it like this. If one of your children was injured, okay, or stabbed, by an illegal immigrant or a legal immigrant or someone you just, by anyone really, but let's say immigrant, okay, because they've been let into the country. And that immigrant also had a criminal record for knife crime. Would you be angry? Would you feel like beating the shite out of him? Would you? Because I think most normal people would. Now, does that make you far right? I actually think it makes you right. So, as this story trundles on, I can't remember the actual the name of the presenter, and I'm not going to bother going into it. You can have a look for yourselves. But he went on Twitter and started saying about people jumping to conclusions, this, that, and the other, and never once actually mentioned the stabbing of the children. Just went straight for the far right. And I thought, you callous piece of shit. You haven't even mentioned what you're talking about in reality, have you? So is that, and you see how this is trundling on. It's almost like there's some sort of awful narrative going on here, and I don't understand why. Maybe I do understand why. Maybe I don't. We won't go there for now, because obviously that's a personal opinion. Anyway, I'm digressing. Now, this morning I read that the BBC put out a statement saying that there was rumours on the internet that the person who stabbed these children and the teacher or whatever was an immigrant. These are unfounded. This was an Irish citizen of 20 years. Did you get that? Did you get that? This is an Irish citizen who's been here for 20 years. Does that not make him an immigrant? Rightly or wrongly, whatever you think of life, whatever you think about immigration, all that sort of stuff, the BBC lied there. He is an immigrant, okay? It doesn't matter how long you've been here, okay? If you've come, I believe it was from Algeria. If you've been here for a year or you've been here for 20 years, you're still an immigrant, aren't you? My mum's an immigrant to the UK. I'm an immigrant I'm half Irish. I'm still in it, you know, maybe I'm not quite an immigrant because I was born here, but my mum is an immigrant, isn't she? So I don't understand where the narrative is. It's almost like protect this certain section of society, this certain thing we've imported from the third world, protect that at all costs and fuck the indigenous people or the British or the Irish or the people that are standing up for their communities. Now, let's think of it another way again. And this is probably where I'm really going with this. Okay. If you went into a place like Bury Park or certain parts of Leicester or Bradford or even Birmingham, where there's a high Muslim population that follow Islam, okay? Now, if one of their children was stabbed by a Christian or by a white person or whatever, okay, and they started rioting in the streets because of it, would they be labelled as far-right extremists? Would they? They wouldn't, would they? Now, there's something going on, and there's this... I'll move a little bit into it, but I'd like to cover this in a different video. But again, I was looking, you know, on the news and everything this morning, and I saw yet again now there's about 30 or 40 followers of Islam doing their prayers. Have a guess where? On the grounds of Westminster Abbey. Sacred place, sacred Christian place for British Christians in the UK. There's 200 mosques in London, so why aren't they using their mosques? This is something I've said before. It's a show of power. That's what this is about. Doing that, okay? Everyone's free to pray how they want. I don't give a shit who you follow. Nothing to do with me, okay? But why would you do that on Christian ground, which would be seen as Christian ground? In a Christian country, Christian grounds, holy place, a church, basically a cathedral or whatever. It's not a cathedral, is it? I don't know. An abbey. Well, same thing, I guess. And then you do this praying with your mats and that. It's disrespectful. Disrespectful. And yeah, I think all of what's been going on lately has been a show of power. And guess what? People starting to get a bit pissed off with it now. And I can feel people boiling up to the point where they're going to do something silly. Is it silly? That only you can judge what's silly and what's not, but you will be labelled far right unless you keep that shut. Discuss it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Am I being oversensitive with this right-wing stuff? Because I just think it's absurd. I think it's absurd. We can label certain sector of society, but we can't label the other sector, a different sector. Certain sectors. Certain ones are untouchable. So yeah, discuss below. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.